Thank you for joining us. I have a special guest today who's here to talk to us about movement and how important movement is in letting go of pain and our shit. And I wanted to introduce him as Emmanuel, so introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Emmanuel Maldonado and I am a movement therapist. Just like Ozzy said, I essentially combine body work, so actual working on your tissues, and then also teaching you how to move your joints with the purpose of using your body better, getting out of pain, but also understanding yourself on a totally different level.
Mm-hmm. And what inspired me to ask Emmanuel to join us and bring you this beautiful gift of him is we start talking about our conversation about surrendering and letting go.
Mm-hmm.
And when he told me what he did, I was like, perfect, because one of my steps, step 3, is movement. And why movement is important was what we had talked about. And so he has so much information to share with us in terms of movement, and I'm so excited to have him tell us a little bit about why movement is important in releasing obstacles in your body.
Movement is, I would say, essential in releasing obstacles because when we explore, as we can call them, limitations in our body, when we know that our shoulder should do a specific movement and it doesn't, that awareness is priceless. That awareness not only gives us the ability to let go of control, of trying to, I guess maybe the example would be of trying to force an outcome. Like, I want to do this exercise. A lot of people, we're talking about shoulders, right? A lot of people want to do overhead exercises or things that are very challenging, or it causes them pain. And it's simply the fact that they don't have the prerequisites to do these movements. Having the awareness of that opens an entire spectrum, or opens a whole section of the spectrum of movement that we can explore.
So when someone comes to see you, what is the one thing you hear people say? Like, what is the limitation language that you hear?
Boy.
There's one thing that we explored and talked about. It's that word that I hear a lot of.
It's... I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. I can't.
Right?
I want to do this, but I can't because of X, Y, or Z, is what I hear all the time. The main one is either pain, or simply pain after the exercise, or pain during, right? So then, therefore, they avoid it altogether and throw it out, out the window, and then it becomes an identity of, I can't do this because of pain, but then it just simply becomes I can't, and it's this surrendering to the negativity of the comment, but instead of I can't do this, but I can do this, right? When you pair the two is when you have power. So yeah, I find that the belief of I can't move in a certain way or I can't do this exercise bleeds into so many areas of our life because our bodies are what we're born with. We have this. This is something we can trust. This is something we can believe is going to be there for us. It's always been there for us. And then the minute it fails, right? Oh, it hurts every time I do this, and it's this frustration. I can't do this because this is holding me back.
So now this becomes a problem, and this becomes your limitation, and now this is your shit, right? This is your obstacle,
Absolutely.
And now stops you from any previous movement you may have found joy in, or any previous movement that you might have found something pleasurable with, right?
Absolutely. And
so now I would imagine that what your clients are being so limited are now not able to, because that's the reality.
Absolutely.
If you say I can't, you really can't.
I forget who said this, but if either whether you say you can or you can't, you're right.
Correct.
And the truth is that every time you say I can't, you are literally training your brain to create nerve endings that send that signal, and then the more you say it, the stronger it gets. So then not only does this become an I can't, it's something we're blaming. And then we transfer that into life. And you start blaming circumstances, and you start blaming people, and you start blaming it's the shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? If only this hadn't happened, I would be here or there, right? And when we address that with movement, when we actually start exploring our bodies and understanding that we actually do have much more control than we think, than we believe, than our brain is actually conditioned to believe, it's so empowering. Because it's no longer about blaming a body part. It's about accepting that it's yours. It's accepting that you're responsible for it.
Yep.
And that you have the power and the capacity to overcome whatever is stopping you.
So what's the first step of getting someone out of the I can't do this movement to now what?
I can't do this, but I can do this.
So you show them a possibility.
Absolutely.
So you don't keep them stuck in the I can't. You now say, well, if you can't do this, what can you do?
Exactly.
And then you work on that. And so now the focus goes to what you can do, which is now becomes something else you could trust in your body, correct?
Exactly.
And then you see results.
You're creating positive reinforcement. And it's not saying that the I can't will never be achieved. Right? I can't do this now. I can do these things that will lead me to what I can't do right now. And again, we apply that to life.
Yep.
The same thing. We're not cutting corners. We're not getting the quick buck or the quick results or the quick fix. Doesn't exist, especially with the body.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of our injuries, a lot of our problems, our dysfunctions didn't happen overnight. Right? It's been 30 years in the making. It's been 40 years, 50, 60 years in the making. Right?
Because of habit.
You've developed this way. So many people, but again, shoulder is one of those injuries that you usually injure your shoulder doing the dumbest thing, the simplest thing. I had a lady I met who, brushing her teeth, popped her shoulder, injured her shoulder, actually damaged her shoulder joint.
Wow.
Right? But then, obviously, we evaluate and see what the cause was. And it was years of never using her right arm, always using her left for absolutely everything. So it's compensation. Then finally, it snapped.
Yeah.
And in life, we have that. Right?
Yeah, so when we can't do something, we overcompensate, right? We talked earlier about the overcompensating or undercompensating. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. If we look at the body as a chain, right? Our joints, each one of our joints is a link in that chain. So to move the chain, you start moving one link, then another, and everything works together, and your whole body works this way. But if there is dysfunction in one of the links, so let's say, two links aren't moving, or that joint isn't moving, the link above and the link below have to move in excess. So then eventually that's causing compensation, it's causing dysfunction. And then literally the term, the weakest link, is what's gonna snap. Your weakest link is what's gonna end up getting injured. And then usually when we get injured, it's not the, let's say a lot of people get knee injury. Usually the knee's not to blame. The knee's just stuck in the middle trying to do work it's not supposed to do. Right? What's actually not moving or causing the dysfunction is the hip or the ankle. That's, the technical part there is simply, if we don't explore every possible movement or range of motion that our body gives us, we are, first of all, doing a disservice to it, but we are damaging the chain.
Wow.
We're not allowing the chain to do what it's designed to do.
Wow, yeah. We talked a little bit about control, because one of the things that I notice in people, and myself included, is that we're constantly trying to control things that are outside of us, right? The circumstances and other people and situations. We're controlling an outcome, right? And when we go into this fear-based space, when we go into, holy shit, I'm about to die, I'm in survival mode, and it literally, now the only thing that you've learned is to control something that's outside of you, rather than, so talk to me a little bit about the importance of, first of all, the relationship that people have with the word control, and how does that relate to the body?
Great question. To me, control is actually is essential when we're talking about movement, because we have a nervous system, we have a motor control center. Without that, nothing works. So it's realizing that if we try to control the external, we're going to fail, because we literally do not control it. What we do control is not only our experience, how we react to what's going on, but how we control and move our body. We genuinely have control over our body. Or at least we have the potential to control our body. Let's say that. So if we go back to the I can't, right, we are accepting that we do not control this part of our body.
So when you're saying, even aside from a pain, when you're saying in life, I can't, you're essentially accepting that.
You're reinforcing that.
You're reinforcing the thought that you have no control, and thereby you are out of control. Okay.
But more importantly, when we're talking about the body, when we are able to control and take back control of our body in whatever way that is for each person, right? Because we're talking about a shoulder, but for other people it's the knee, the hip, the head, the neck, the whole body. The conversation gets to become about controlling what you can control. So that's where the exploration of the body comes in. That's where, I guess, the step one comes in, for just simply realizing that we control so much more than what we believe. Simply if we look in. The more we try to control outside, we're wasting our time. But if we actually spend time trying to move our body, trying to, explore different patterns, dancing, playing a sport, rolling around on the floor, literally just laying on the floor and rolling around. It's a huge exercise.
Yeah.
It's a huge experience, like a baby. Like if you start moving like a baby just for play, you'll be surprised that, oh wow, that's harder than I thought it was. Rolling around from your back to your belly and reversing that, for a lot of people, is the most challenging exercise. They can do a squat, but they can't roll over. Right? You'd be surprised. So it's reestablishing awareness. It's reestablishing a conversation between you and your body that we don't have.
And what I'm hearing in that also is it's simplifying your identity of your body. So it's essentially taking you back to your root self, right? Your what you did as a baby and as you grew, right? You were, right? How you moved your body, and how hard it was to even crawl, and how I can't was never even. You weren't even introduced to that word. You didn't know I can't. You only knew Absolutely. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fall down. I'm going to stand. And how many times have you, right? So what I'm hearing that is that literally simplifying your experience and how you control your body by doing simple exercises that bring you back to that simple mind.
Absolutely. It's also about being gentle with yourself. Right? It's when we think about movement, we want to do all these crazy things that, I've never done CrossFit and I'm all of a sudden going to lift 90 pounds over my head. We try to do things that they look cool and they would be nice to do, but we don't have the prerequisites to do them. Right? So then we put our body through this strain and this damage that it's simply not ready for. So like I explained earlier, it's like trying to do calculus without knowing how to multiply, add, or subtract. Right? You're not ready. That doesn't mean you can't achieve it. Right? So then when we go back to the playfulness, like a kid, like a child, the expectation gets a lot smaller.
Right, there's no instant gratification because you're in play. When you're in play, you're in flow, and you're with, you're being with yourself and with whatever is in your environment. Absolutely. Whereas when you're controlling, it's a very, talk to me a little bit about what control looks like in the body.
So control...
The unhealthy control, I was
going to say, okay. So control in the body, when it's unhealthy, right?
So
we're not talking about movement.
Yeah, no, maybe I'll give you a more specific situation. So someone comes, I'm in fear. Something scared me. Gotcha. It could be something, I don't know, divorce. It could be loss of a job. It could be maybe something as simple as, your children didn't listen to you. Whatever it may be, like something comes up and you're in fear, and what happens in the body when an obstacle, when that shitstorm happens? Like what happens in the body?
So it's very similar to so your nervous system does basically asks one of two questions. Will this kill me or will I live? That's essentially, if we're going to go black and white, as strip it down as much as we can, everything is boiled down to that. It's a risk assessment. So physically, if we get injured, let's say playing basketball, the next time, once I'm somewhat healed, the next time I step into a basketball court, my nervous system is going to say, I don't know, I'm not going to give you the ability you had before until I trust you, until you show me you're not going to hurt me again. So it's a similar effect when something external starts affecting us. Something happens and the body starts tensing up and things start to flare up.
So when your body constricts, right? Because in stress, your body constricts. In anxiety, your body constricts. In depression, right? What happens in your body then?
It's a defense mechanism. It's literally your body saying, get me away. This is not good for me. This is not healthy. I'm gonna die. This is either gonna kill me or hurt me really bad. And it's a beautiful opportunity for us to have that conversation of surrender, right? Because anxiety is one of my favorite things to talk about. Because anxiety is simply the physical manifestation of worry, right? By the time you're having an anxiety attack or you're feeling anxious, you've worried yourself silly for the last, for some people it's 1 minute, for other people it's all day. You're worrying about something that is external for the most part, and you can't control. So then your body has this reaction that it really thinks, oh my God, me not having enough money for the bills, me getting yelled at by my boss, my kids not listening to me fighting with my spouse or my ex or whoever, whatever the stimulus is, your body's gonna want to do that. And it's definitely limiting. A control mechanism. There's a comedian who says, he's afraid of heights. And when he looks over a building, his body tenses up, and it's his body's saying, yeah, that's not good for you, back up, right? And that's exactly what's going on, but we can, simply by reassuring the body, by breathing, by moving, by doing the exact opposite of what's going on physically, we can reassure the body.
So it's going out of restrictive movement into a flow in your body.
And it's a gentle flow. It's something as simple as breathing. And it's actually not that simple, because breathing is one of the most complicated things for people, myself included, right? It's something that you can practice your breath for the rest of your life, and there's always more to gain. It's amazing. So something as simple as sitting there and I'm having a panic attack, I'm having an anxiety attack, and trying to count your breath. There's apps for this, you can set a timer, there's many things that you can do.
And the focus becomes the control. I'm controlling what I can control, not what I can't.
You're bringing the awareness in, right? You're taking control of something as simple as your breath. I've taught people, if breathing is not gonna work, maybe something as tapping your fingers.
Yeah, I do that. I teach that too.
You're going into a rhythm.
Yeah.
Think of your favorite song and try to snap it or hum it or whistle it. It's a distraction. But it's
to refocus.
Creating safety, right? It's telling your nervous system, hey, you got this, you control this. So control in a negative aspect is when your body hijacks the logical or the thought process of I'm okay.
I like that. You said hijack.
Yeah, because it's literally what's going on.
That's what it feels like.
It's literally, shut down these things that don't need to happen right now. We're about to die.
Yeah, and then you feel imprisoned by those thoughts and and that feeling, and you feel like then you're going to I can't, and you freeze.
Absolutely. And if we talk about the specifics of it, it's literally hormones that are being secreted. It's adrenaline, it's cortisol, it's all these things that are coming out in your body that create this effect. So it's not by accident.
Right.
And it's not just, I think it and it's gone. No, it's a physical process.
Right.
But by breathing, by introducing a gentle flow, a gentle movement, or a distraction.
The first thing you would suggest if someone is in distress is breathing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the simplest. You can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
You can stop yourself. Even if you're walking, you can do it. It doesn't matter where you are. You can do it.
As long as you, for me, it's practicing presence, right? It's breathing into presence, because in the present moment there's peace.
Absolutely. There's nothing trying to attack you. It's simply here. It's
you're safe.
It's what your body knows. Without the breath, you die.
Right.
So when you introduce breath, you introduce life. And you introduce safety.
Yes.
So it starts with the breath, always.
So what is the, so we're going to wrap it up a little bit, but we do have a little something. So what is the one area of the body that you most see people come to you with pain?
I would say hips.
That makes sense. So hips.
Absolutely. Hips and spine, but in my experience, it usually comes from the lower body. So I usually address feet and hips. And hips is a pain point, is where I used to be able to do this, now I can't because of my hip. So that can be injury, pain, just like fracture in any situation.
Is that something that, is there an exercise that you have?
Absolutely. So this is part of an assessment / exercise, and it's my gift to you guys for tuning in and listening. It's very simple. You can do it anywhere, and it's something as easy as moving your hips. And we're going to explore that in a little bit. The effect here is that you're taking your body to a point, I call them dark zones. A light zone is what your body's used to, right? Standing, sitting, moving, brushing your teeth, eating, things you do all the time. A dark zone is moving into a space that your nervous system literally goes, I've never been here before, I don't trust you, I'm going to pull back. Right?
I call it the uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's the uncomfortable, it's the unknown. So we're going to be playing on the edge of that, and it's safe. It's not, there's no true risk for injury. It's simply creating an awareness of space, and it's a circular motion with the hips. I'll show it to you guys in a second.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. My pleasure.
So we're going to show you. We're going to show you next the movement that he's talking about, and my invitation to you as you're watching this is set the intention to be open to this experience, because this is fun, and it's also a practice that you can do at home wherever you're at that will support you in getting out of that stuck feeling. Obviously, there are many more exercises and practices that you can put into place, and if there is, if you have any questions or any you want to get a hold of this incredible man, I will leave all the information for you, and you can contact him at any time to schedule a phone call and get to know what he does with his clients. And so thank you for being here, and I'm so excited that you get to show us this movement. I'm going to say it's a sexy movement.
It can be.
Because as you know, I do have a podcast called The Sexy Shift. I'm about, bringing sexy back in many different ways.
This could support in that.
This could definitely support in that. As you know, those hips don't lie.
They don't.
So, we'll be right back with the movement.